Well, here we are. I'm taking a break for the day because I have to go to bed early because I am babysitting McTavish while Raven's in Toronto. And McTavish, if anyone doesn't know, he's got diabetes. He's old. He's got diabetes, thyroid condition, and some other little tumor thing. And ultimately, the way it manifests is McTavish is pretty well now completely blind. Still getting used to it. Doesn't seem to mind the insulin injections while he's eating because he's so busy eating. But he is definitely higher maintenance now, and hence why I have him in a little dog carrying device. It's sometimes the only thing that calms him. So I give him little rocking motions and stuff. But anyways, this is my lantern. I'm not going to call it a jack-o'-lantern, but it sort of is. It's taking on a different strategy and approach. I think more sophisticated, and I'll explain my approach later. For now, I'm just kind of nightcap and just going over the effect. And what I'm doing is I'm creating, let me see if I can do it on top. You can get a little bit of it now before it's all done, is a sacred geometry effect. Let's see if I can go up high enough. And so it's a Fibonacci sequence. It's very powerful. It's nature's, I don't know, nature's flux or energy manifestation. It's really hard to say. I could go into that some other time. In such a short video, I just can't go into it. But I find sacred geometry extremely powerful healing. And this is being incorporated for various reasons into the lantern. I'll call it a jack-o'-lantern. Kind of like Jack Frost. It's kind of I don't think there's an actual person. Jack Frost, jack-o'-lantern, it's some, maybe an entity or an energy that is just used and given a name. So anyways, I'm working on my sacred Fibonacci sequence here. You see this in pine cones and sunflowers where the seeds all are in patterns, and you see it in certain, all over the place, but vegetables and things, I'm sure, nautilus shells and all kinds of good stuff, and then drawings on Google. So I'm working on those. Now this is not going to be the only stage. Once this is all carved, then what I'm going to toy around with is got my little wood burning tool set up over here. I'm going to just test what stuff looks like when it's if I can burn designs into it and if it'll look any good. Probably only on the orange shell sections, I'm going to guess, because I think the other part will go all like cooked. Because it's not much different than an apple, really, a little bit firmer, in between an apple and a carrot. And good friend of mine, Jeffrey Gavel, I don't know if it was a challenge, but he kind of hinted at the idea of me doing some tattooing on it. So I'm going to try on my experimental pumpkin in the other room first before I ever try that, but I've got a long while still. So I've got these petals, 1, 2, 3, as I go up, in various levels of, like, the first few on each of these are done. These little square things, those took friggin' forever, and they're really easy to break. Then I got one down here which has patterns not so deep, and I've got lots of room to do some really cool stuff with that as well. And then back to petals. And then if you go this way, there's the petals. Then I've got one of these guys happening. I don't know if you can tell what it is yet, but that can manifest over time. Then another set of petals. Then another set of those square things. Damn, wish I didn't do so many. But actually it'll be good when it's done. Then petals, then some cool round shapes, and so on. So this thing will be very lantern-like. And then I'm going to make sure through all of this, I'm not yet because I don't want to make it too weak, I'm going to find ways to get holes throughout it as well to let more light in. Because one of the most important things is how the light comes through in the dark, because I really want it to look good lit up. mostly. And well, why not? I'll just very briefly go into how pre-Christian interpretation, which I really don't buy. It's has a very cheap overlay, doesn't have much meaning. It's just silly, maybe something for a child to listen to and go, oh, that's one of those dumb adult stories. This is a very, very deep and powerful and effective healing device for the individual, and I guess for others. It's an emotional thing that works on the subconscious. I think doing the work is part of the most important aspects. As a meditation, you're creating this. In my case, what I'm creating and my strategy is it's this time of year, and that's why the jack-o'-lanterns were done, was to scare away evil, negative entities, evil spirits, whatever people believed. And this is the time where the veils are the thinnest between the worlds, and it's when these people believe these entities and spirits can get through. Also why some people say to do certain psychedelics during this time, and why other people say do not do. I would say be very cautious because you just don't know what you're inviting in. But anyways, with this, anyone that's feeling this or feels motivated to do this, it's a great way at this time of year, and there's a lot of astrological reasons as well that amps this up even more, that most people I meet are being extremely challenged in a very difficult way, myself included. And I use this as my way of working through it and observing and learning what helps, I guess, and then sharing that with others. So I'm creating more of a strategy where this sacred geometry will only invite, as which it's aligned with, positive, life-affirming energies that are good for you, good for the planet, because you are part of the planet. And it will naturally ward away, and anything it hasn't warded away. The way this works, and this is just my little thing that's come to me as I'm doing it, it's kind of a little bit of a labyrinthy type of effect too. There's a lot of confusion for any thoughts. They'll go back to you, yourself, or me. Any thoughts that you have that you identify sometimes that are not your own, the negative ones, they're all not your own. But they're so elusive and slippery, not just when wet. They can be identified. Quite often you have, I'm sure, to be a program. They almost can seem like they're you, but then when you really start watching them carefully, you realize they don't quite pull it off. Just like that story about the jack-o'-lantern, just doesn't quite pull it off. So when you dive into it and look deeper, you find pagan stories preceding that make a little more sense. And then I just took it one step further. So you can do this and keep that meditation, play some meditations as well while you're on that. While you're doing carving your pumpkin to clear this energy, this is a great time to do it because all this stuff is coming up. If you wonder why your life is falling apart, it's not really. It's the old you that's falling apart. And this is a great way of just even making it easier. It's going to happen anyways, unless you hang on to your old identity. So this is a great tool. I encourage you to do it. You don't have to do sacred geometry. You don't have to do it as complicated as I'm doing it. Anything while you're meditating on the idea. And then when you put your candle in there later, out in the dark, that candle inside this lantern is shedding light, lighting up a dark area. And whatever you do, you intend that it will bring in and align you with the positive and clear off the negativity and make it a lot easier for you to decipher which part is the fake you and which part is the real you. So anyways, I hope that I went a little long-winded compared to what I was wanting to do, but maybe that's important because I didn't really give much of the story. And I'll give more each time of a little something else to go along with it, so you over time you can fully understand what I'm doing and my craziness. So anyways, that is where I'm at. It's going to look really, really cool. Nothing like what it is right now. It's at a kind of a halfway stage, the parts that are done, but nowhere near. So please stay tuned. Tell me if you like this. Make some comments. If I don't get any feedback, I have no idea what people think of it. So please let me know what you think. Bye-bye.